1. The Imperialism. In the olden times, the kings used to have the ambition of dominating the neighboring or distant regions. In India, there were powerful empires established by Chandragupta Maurya and King Ashok, etc. In the beginning, the kings and the emperors would give less importance to the acquisition of wealth while expanding their territories. However, in the modern times, the concept of imperialism changed. In the year 1453, Constantinople, that is Istanbul, was won by the Ottoman Turks. The terrestrial way, the short route to Asia, was closed down for the European traders. As there had been an increase in the business in Europe, and with the short route being under the control of the Turks, the Europeans felt the need for finding out a new sea route. The navigators were inspired by kings and business persons of Europe to discover new sea routes. On the assumption of Copernicus, the earth is not flat but round, the navigators discovered unknown regions in the world. Christopher Columbus, John Cabot, Amerigo Vespucci were the sailors who discovered the northern, eastern and central parts of American continent. Vasco da Gama found out the sea route to India. Spain, Portugal, Holland, France set up colonies in the newly discovered regions through the adventurous sailing. The European nations set up colonies in the newly discovered regions. Thus, imperialism was caused by colonialism. The meaning of the word imperium is right to rule. Imperialism can be defined as domination of an undeveloped nation by a developed nation by virtue of establishing a colony. Now the reasons for imperialism. First one, scientific inventions. Science motivated the creation of modern weapons and woke up the tremendous ambition in human beings. 2. Industrial revolution. Production increased due to machines and they felt an urgent need of finding out new markets. 3. Need of raw material. The Industrial Revolution increased the production and there was a scarcity of raw material. Colonies thus became the only source of getting the raw material at cheaper prices. 4. Prosperity of Asia and Africa. The nations in Asian and African continents were very rich in natural resources. With a view to take advantage of these natural resources for their profit, the European nations brought the nations of Asia and Africa under their imperial rule. 5. Rise of new European nations. Inspired by England's imperial power, Germany and Italy began acquiring colonies by adopting policy of aggressive nationalism. 6. Ambition of political domination. The greatness of a nation would be decided by the number of colonies under their control. So the attempts of colonization increased and the nations began to strengthen their security. 7. Propagation of religion. Establishment of the colonies was followed by the entry of Christian missionaries for the purpose of spreading Christianity. 8. Weakness of Asian and African nations. The nations belonging to the African and Asian continents were affected by invasions and feudalism. A great damage was done to the agriculture and business of these nations. The societies were divided by religions, cults, languages, etc. Then the economic imperialism. The objective was to bring profits to the nation by exploiting the natural resources of the underdeveloped nations by means of economic and political domination, and it is known as economic imperialism. In 18th century, England is called the origin of industrial revolution, which was followed by the other European nations. These nations had financial prosperity due to the business companies. Then, various forms of imperial domination. In order to achieve the imperial objectives, the European nations brought in dominion over the Asian and African continents by exploiting the colonies economically, improving the financial condition of the imperial nations themselves.